start at 4:07. Well, thank you everybody for coming to the Carver Earth Removal Committee meeting on April 24th, 2024. We're in meeting room 1 at the town hall. It is 4:07 p.m. Apologize for our tardiness. If everybody could just do me a favor and silence their cell phone. We always seem to have one or two that like to show off their ringtone, which would be great. Board members will be recognized first, then the audience may or may not be recognized with a time limit of 2 minutes, not more than 2 minutes. I've got the right to stop any conversation whenever I see fit. I hope I don't have to do that. If things get out of hand, we'll call a recess and take care of the problem. Area 58 will in fact be recording tonight. Thank you very much for coming. And anybody else recording today?
Yeah, I'm recording.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Craig Lamolt with GBH News.
Do you need him to spell his last name?
I do,
sir?
please.
Yes, it's Lemoult, first name Craig with a C.
Thank you. And where were you from?
GBH.
Ed, Meg, you said you were recording as well?
Yes, I am recording.
Thank you very much. All right, so we'll move right along and into the minutes. Did everybody get a chance to review the minutes that Carol sent out? Quite lengthy, which was very nice. Thank you very much, Carol.
I move the minutes be approved as presented.
Mr. Bentley, move. Who second? Mr. Mason, second, Carol. Bob Bentley first.
Thank you.
John second. Any discussion on the minutes from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Perfect. Unanimous, Carol. All right, so I've changed the order of our agenda in the last couple of meetings to set the meeting date and time and any site visit, so we don't have to fumble with it at the end like we've had to do. I had put in the agenda a potential meeting date of Wednesday, May 29th, in discussions with Kevin Forg, who we'll talk about in a little bit. He has a conflict on Wednesdays, so it would be my request of you all that we could change the meeting days to Tuesdays. And in this case, the next meeting date would be May the 28th, which is a Tuesday, at 4 o'clock in this meeting room, number 1.
I was looking at the Board of Health schedule, and it looks like they meet on the fourth Tuesday of the month.
Okay, at 7 o'clock, I think.
5.
Really?
Yeah.
I asked Shelby today, and she said 4 o'clock would be good for us.
She
I
said
would-
just for next month though, so we'll have to, I did ask her again, I said, so going forward, because we're gonna keep it on this day.
Yep,
So I'll touch base again tomorrow, going forward to always do it on the fourth Tuesday.
yep.
Okay, and we'll let you know.
Yeah, but
But I know next month's
if you do,
definitely
then
okay.
Kevin's gonna have,
He's gonna have to be in 2 places at once, is what you're saying.
yeah.
Right now, the 28th look good. Is a date of the 28th not gonna work for us in that regard with Kevin, you think? I talked to him about it yesterday. He
She
seemed
said
to,
the only meeting is, this meeting at 7 o'clock that night for
Yeah.
next, for in May.
for the 28th.
Okay, I couldn't see it on the website in terms
Right.
of
So I
what
know
was
for
coming
May
up for
it'll be
May.
fine, and I'll find out going forward.
Yep, okay. May the 28th, good, and then we'll just make sure Kevin doesn't have a conflict on a Tuesday with Board of Health. Everybody good with May the 28th, 4 o'clock, which is a Tuesday?
Happy birthday to me.
Had I known that, we would have been planning this a long time ago.
Actually, that may not work for me.
It's a Tuesday, May 28th. Okay? So we're good with Tuesday the 28th.
Yes.
Okay.
You want to do the minutes?
We did the minutes already.
Oh, you did.
Yep. So we're on to the
I was thinking of the agenda.
potential site visit date, and that will be the Mackey final visit. We've done every one of the permits through the last 3 or 4 or 5 months. So I have Saturday, the 18th at 8 a.m., May 18th at 8 a.m. at the Mackey site on May the 18th. Everybody good with that day?
8 a.m.?
Yes, please, at Mackey.
Good with me, Mr. Chair.
Okay, all right. All right, we got an email from Mrs. Beetling and her husband Keith. Thank you for being here, by the way. It's been discussed several times. The bulldozer was in fact brought in to grade the site like we talked about at the last meeting. The loam was in a pile, needed to be spread. The excavator, to your next question, the excavator is in fact still on site, will remain on site until Mrs. Mackey makes up her mind about the pump that's gonna go in as an agricultural operation, which is in fact not our purview. Boom lift. I did not see a picture of the boom lift, but it says picture attached, that's why I'm,
Yeah, no, it should have been there, but I have
Okay.
it on my cell phone.
yep. They are done hauling. They are done.
So why did we see a dump truck coming out with a covered road?
I don't
We
know.
saw it going in, we saw it coming.
It's a cleanup of a site. It's not earth. It's whether it's,
How do we know that?
it's cleanup.
Really?
It's
How
cl-
do we know?
How many did you see?
We saw one.
Thank you. So they are hydroseeded. I spoke with Dan Nunes last Thursday. They are graded, they are hydroseeded. That's why I picked the date of the 18th. That'll give it a couple of 3 weeks to grow. And we'll go over there, and then at that point, we will entertain from them an as-built plan, which they have been instructed, and we'll go from there.
So they have till the 18th to finish the site.
They're done. They're done hauling, everything's done there. The only thing that's left is an excavator, and that is there to set a pump as an agricultural operation.
That's all well and good.
Yep.
I want to know when it's going to be done. When all the equipment's out of there.
The only thing that's left there is an excavator.
Open our windows.
There's no more trucking, it's done. They've hydroseeded, we're gonna go see it on the 18th. We will in fact talk to them on the 28th about the certificate of completion. Thank you.
So, no, excuse me. So, if you're gonna be going for a site visit on the 18th.
We are.
and it's all done, why are you waiting for the end of May for a certificate of completion?
We haven't seen it yet, we're waiting for the grass to grow. That's why. There's no trucks. There's no trucks.
You're not,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, you're just uncomfortable.
Where's the site restoration plan that's required by the bylaw, and where's the monitoring well data?
So we're gonna move on to the SLT, thank you very much, Meg. We're gonna move on to the Marab Trust site permit with a closure discussion and a potential vote. Mr. Opachinsky?
Are you allowing public comment or not? You said 2 minutes? What's the?
What I said was, if in fact I allow it, and right now I'm not.
So you're not allowing public comment?
This is not a public hearing, it's not required. Peter, thank you very much for coming.
No problem. Where would you like to start? Obviously, we're in to ask for a certificate of completion.
Yes, sir.
I guess my microphone, I'll speak up then. So you want to start from the beginning of time? Or I know you had a site visit on the 16th of March. I was not there, Jason.
He was.
Unfortunately, broke his leg. And
No.
a long story.
Yep. We were in fact there, so why don't you take us through what's happened since then, what you've done as an as-built for us, and any pictures that, in the email it says you'd bring to this, and we go from there.
All right, so what we So basically, when you're out there on the 16th, you'll see that the trees have been planted per the plan that was approved by the Earth Removal Committee back in 2021. The grass is growing, the trees are doing fine. We've completed earth removal off of the Marip piece. I think if you look at the reports that we've submitted to the town for the 25-cent fee, there is a slight discrepancy there.
Okay.
Because at the time, the Pine Barrens group and the 10 residents, or whatever they go under, they bought an action against that piece of property, but we were never issued a cease and desist, so what we did to make sure that we didn't lose our right to take that material out was we pushed a lot of it into Plumpton, and we pushed a lot of it into our Spring Street side. So the material off of Merritt got kind of intermingled with our stuff. So when we did our reporting, we based it on a 50-50 split. If 10,000 yards went out in a week, we split it 50-50. And so right now, I believe we're probably a little over-reported on our Spring Street part and a little under-reported on this. But we have, we did a beach restoration project that took about, over 40,000 yards the first quarter. So we'll be reporting that when our report is due on May 15th. And I do have a spreadsheet that shows how the reports look right now from day one, which I thought would be helpful to show the board. So in the first column, it shows what we've taken out of Spring Street. It's 540 to date.
Yep.
I think we're permitted for 550 and change, so
Okay.
we're close there. We're 164 on Marib. We were permitted for 207.
Okay.
So on Marib,
I'll pass this to you guys. You can send it back. I'll pass it that way.
on the Marib property, we relied on some existing topo that our engineer had. He never actually surveyed the Marib piece.
Totals.
So when the trees were cut there, we have our own in-house engineer, GPS, flies it with a drone. We did a topo before we started earthwork, and then compared it to where we're at right now. And I have that information as well. We're actually targeted to take 185,000 out altogether.
Okay.
And so we're about 20 under there, but we also have probably 30 to 40,000 yards of material stockpiled on the Plumpton side of our property.
Yep.
And
Thank you.
we're hauling that out as miscellaneous jobs come up.
Okay.
So in the end, we'll probably have another quarter to report, but in the end, when this is all closed out, our numbers look to be 185,000 for Marib, and we'll be right on the money with what we were permitted for our subdivision to build the road.
Okay.
We submitted the as-built drawing. As you can see, it varies a little bit from,
And I don't know where we're at here with this.
this is what we submitted back in 2021.
Okay.
And what we regraded it slightly so that we did not have water running onto the approved lots that we have in our subdivision. We kept it going towards the Plumpton side, so that
That's all.
Mrs. McGrath kept the water on Mrs. McGrath's property.
There.
So you can see a slight
This is
difference in the contour.
Considerable drop.
Overall, we're under, by what we proposed to take out of the site by about 20,000.
Oh, that way. I'll send it this way.
Can we keep that copy?
Yeah, can we, these copies are all for us, right?
Yes.
Thank you very
I'll
much.
just make sure that.
Sorry, Mike. We have been to the site. We noted, I think, in our last meeting, that the growth was happening, the trees looked good, the planting looked good. There was obviously a puddle because it hadn't stopped raining in a month.
So this is the entrance over here.
Any comments from the board about the Marab side of this project? Okay.
So when you issue a certificate of compliance, does it reference the permit as well as the bylaws? I've never done one of these, but it's important.
Well, it's
to
gonna
me.
be the same thing for me too, so there you go.
So, I'd like the permit, when you do write it up, that it just in compliance, we've done the work in compliance with the permit as well as the earth removal bylaws.
Town council, would you like to help me on this one? Is there something that we write up for them to do this, and then is that appropriate that,
So compliance goes both ways, that's what we're saying.
Fills out form. It's very brief, but it just, everything's on there.
So-
It essentially, it speaks for itself.
Okay.
It is a closeout. They have to be in compliance with their permit. They have to be in compliance with the bylaw.
okay?
Okay, that's
So,
my question.
the permit closeout form,
Yeah.
have you guys filled this out?
First time I've seen it.
Okay. All right, so what I think we'll do, until we see a filled-in copy of this, would be my recommendation, is that we continue this
Okay.
till the next time. And then, unless I hear an objection from the board or council, that until he fills something like this out, we'll be able to review it.
Yep.
And then take a vote on it at that point.
Correct.
And once you look over all his paperwork.
Right.
Fair enough.
Sound fair?
Yeah.
Excellent. So Tuesday, the 28th of May is our next meeting. I'll pass this around to make sure all you guys have seen that too. Okay?
Very good.
Thank you so much, Peter. I appreciate it.
There is no site restoration plan for this project, as you know, and there's several lawsuits pending, including a challenge to the stormwater runoff.
So we're gonna move right on to the inspector and agent discussion. The Board of Health agent, Kevin Ford, you guys should have all received in your packet an email
At the end of the packet.
with Kevin's job description in it. He has in fact accepted this. It's been approved by the interim town administrator. I've talked to Kevin, he's willing. Not saying he's excited, but he's willing to come help us out. Hence the reason for the date change. If you guys, I'll accept or entertain a motion to accept the earth removal agent job description and ask him to come help us out and be our agent.
So moved.
Can I ask first,
Yep.
how is this being funded?
It's gonna be funded through Earth Removal Committee funds.
And Earth Removal Committee funds do we have to authorize them?
We do. Just like we do with Carol, she has a payment voucher, if you will, that notes her hours worked, and we then fund it. This is a graded salary position. So Kevin will submit a report to us. We'll review it, we'll sign it, just like we do with Carol, and then he can get paid.
And I know now, like, the way they voted it, and it has to be like, 3 or 4 out of the board. Everyone does it different, but that's how you do it. Like, everyone will sign X amount of people. That's how you do it every time.
So I would imagine we need a quorum to sign it.
Yes.
Okay.
But you can, I know other committees, they
Actually-
said that for here, we should do it, but it doesn't matter. But other committees, just, they change it and they have it that just the chair signs off for the payment, but that's not how it is with us.
We're gonna use a quorum.
Yeah, that's fine. And that's what we do.
I like it.
Other committees have different numbers.
Exactly. That's why I'm gonna use the word quorum.
Yes.
So, I see Amy nodding her head, so
Yes.
that works.
Yes.
And we have adequate funds at this point?
We do currently have adequate funds, and that's gonna go to another topic on the agenda.
Okay.
Anybody have, well, do we have a motion to accept the job description and ask Kevin to come on as our agent?
So moved.
John?
John and Roger.
Yeah, I'll second that, yeah. But I do want, well, we'll have discussion.
So, any discussion?
I do have. I mean, overall, if we're being honest here, our overall record keeping for this committee is marginal at best. We're going to be collecting and relying on a lot more documents now going forward. And I recommend that as for this new position, one of the first, the priority be a review of all of the current files and digitizing of the files and hopefully to set up some sort of online capability or process right out of the gate so that we're not creating a lot of administrative work for the new position.
Is that something we can do, Amy?
Sure, I'm not certain if the town has permit eyes. I don't know if you guys have online permitting, no? You will be getting it, I'm sure, soon. Everybody has it
Maybe we
now.
can lead that charge.
And that will help out, but I agree that getting everything at least digitized onto, even if it's PDF files,
Okay.
would be very helpful.
I absolutely love the idea. I'm all about dotting the i's and crossing the t's when it comes to our paperwork. It is vitally important, as has been pointed out over the last couple of years. It's been lax a little bit. So this way here, I think it will help with public records requests, and having it online will certainly speed that process up. I love it. Any further discussion on the motion?
Only that once you do that, you can then require submittals be electronic. So
Oh, okay.
any submittal will also have to be electronic plus, if you want to have a hard copy, also a hard copy. But that also makes it easier to get all the information out to members and public records, things like that.
Yeah, further, I think the document should be digitized.
So for
so that
example,
they can be done
tonight,
online, right?
which was given to you tonight in hand, could have been electronically.
Right.
Sure.
And you can require that.
Well, look at us looking into the 21st century.
20th.
I love it. That's a great ask, and I have every confidence that Kevin and Carol and the office staff here can make that all happen. I think that's a great ask. Any further discussion? All those in favor of accepting the job description and bringing Kevin on as our agent, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Perfect. Kevin, if you're watching, welcome aboard. Okay. Next item up is our site walks at Makepeace. It was my error at the last meeting when I asked them about the Federal Road Map 131 site, which we had already been at, obviously. So we ended up chatting with them, and we actually ended up, because they were accommodating to us, they brought us over to Federal Road as well. But we did start at the we started at 59 Federal Road.
Permit 900.
Yep. At permit 100. We started there at 8 o'clock. Went till about 10 minutes of 9. I started on my right last time with any comments from the board. I'll start on my left. Mr. Harrison, you were there. John, you had recused yourself from all of these. Thank you. Any commentary on the 59 Federal Road site, Mike?
The area was neat and, let's see, they're coming along, they're removing only the trees and topsoil for the upcoming site. They don't clear cut everything, just do it in phases. And it looks pretty squared away.
Roger, anything to add?
The thing I found interesting there, other than it being orderly, I think they're following all the procedures, but they're also overseen by an organization called MSHA that I wasn't aware of. Must be like OSHA. I've got a manufacturing background. But that assures that they're following, best environmental, safety, and other procedures. So I was happy to see that, that there's a watchdog group out there like that taking care of it.
Mr. Bentley?
I noted that it was, they're presently working on phase 2 of a four-phase project. and earth removal was in progress while we were there. We all noted the white noise that was being used. And it was also noted by Makepeace that the adjacent solar farm is not part of the project at all.
Right.
And it's fenced off entirely separately. On asking, they said that phases 3 and 4 were going to require approximately another 200 feet of sand removal. And obviously, the ultimate intent is to put in new cranberry bogs.
Yep, which we did see the plan. Mr. Ward or Judy, anything to add?
I might just say that it appears to be following the plan, the way that we permit.
Judy?
No, everything as the previous members reported.
Beautiful.
It's in place.
Excellent. Okay, so in your packets, you did in fact get an email from one of the vice presidents at ADM that they had, as I had asked for, sent us a notification that they would be cutting for the Phase 3 side. We did get that. So any discussion on the cutting of the Phase 3 of a permit that's already been issued? Okay. We've,
So phase 3 is 870,000 cubic yards.
so
That's about-
do me a favor, and if you could help me out by sitting down, and I haven't called on you yet, Meg.
Well, I'd just like to let everybody.
I'd like you to sit down if you would, please. Thank you. So at about 9 o'clock, we moved over to the Hammond Road site for AD Makepeace. Mr. Ward, would you like to comment on some of that? I know you only stayed for a few minutes, you had to jet, but it was the one with the water hole?
Yep, no, the only part that wasn't completed is that backside on that water hole, and everything else seemed to be completed, seeded, and the way we prescribed it.
Mr. Bentley?
I noted that the site was solely for the creation of a water hole. They're finishing up with work on the last corner, so there's very little work left to be done. There is organic material around the water hole which needs to be spread. They admitted that. They said they knew that it had to get spread. And they anticipate the end date for this project will be the end of the summer.
Roger?
I can just add another little thing I learned as I'm coming through this, but the water hole had to be expanded because the hybrid berries that they use require a lot more water. I just found that interesting.
Cool. Mike, anything else?
Nope.
Okay, perfect. So those were our 2 site visits this past month. And like I said earlier, that does in fact conclude all the permits. We've been to visit every single one of them. Mackey's gets visited every single time we go out. We've got one more visit with them. Makepeace has been in, like Roger and Bob had just said, that they will be done with the Hammond Street side. We'll be looking for an as-built from them, which they've agreed to do. And they will in fact come to us with a certificate of completion for that one too. So I would think that our projects here are starting to actually somewhat wind down a little bit, which is kind of nice. Okay. All right, there is a notification sheet that we talked about last meeting from the Cape Cod Cranberry Growers Association. We had a pretty healthy discussion last meeting about this sheet. There were a couple of modifications made to the sheet. One of which was, where will the soil be going? Which I think is absolutely imperative. So Brian Wick made that all happen. He did put together a cover letter that will be going out to the growers as well. I'm hopeful that you guys have had a chance to look at the notification sheet as its differences from last month. And if you've got any commentary on that, or if we should change some of the verbiage on his cover letter so that we can get this out to the Carver cranberry growers and have this come back in to us by no later than June 30. And what my intention will be is to have this be an annual permit, if the board so agrees, that will be filed on or around January 1st. So this particular year, we'll start it at the end of the second quarter, June 30, and we'll go 6 months. And then they'll do it again. As a matter of course, it'll go for a year from there. Has everybody had a chance to look at the notification sheet?
So any changes to this, we would need vote or in the future, like if we added in here a future potential way to go online and fill out the form or something like that, would that be something we would have to?
I don't think we need to
Modify
vote on it. It's
afterwards.
just something that we can ask to have done and just make it easier as the electronic format becomes available.
Okay.
I don't think we gotta worry about it too
What
quickly.
about I'm just worried about the document.
Yeah, so on the cover letter and on the notification sheet, it says where to send it to, and to get it to us so that we have, in fact, information on soil that's being moved under the exemptions article for earth removal for the cranberry growers on their own sites.
So I reviewed the permit and, not the permit, the notification, and that looks like it takes into account everything that we talked about at the last meeting.
Okay.
I have a couple of comments on the cover letter.
Yep, good.
I think there's an extra "as" in the second paragraph where it says, the following form has been created to provide as simple as an approach for growers. I think you can take out one of those "as."
Okay.
And on the third paragraph, it says, please help by filing this filing this out in a timely manner. I think it's filling this out instead.
So we're talking about typographical
Yes.
things. Okay, so nothing of actual substance. I will talk to
And-
Brian about those things.
And I think there needs to be a deadline.
So that's why I want to have a vote on the June 30th deadline for this season. There will be a little bit of massaging to do to the growers, and the fact that this is a notification. This is not a permit. This is a notification so that there is protection. That's what it's for. It's in the bylaw. It's been in the bylaw for some time. I don't believe that it's ever been done. So I'm looking to just clean some things up that are already in the current bylaw. And this will give us a little bit of help when we have growers moving soil from site A to site B, whether it's in town or out of town.
And it will help with our citizens and neighbors, so they will know and we can inform them what's going on in terms of agriculture
Exactly.
and versus removal for some other purpose.
I particularly like the commentary that where it was going. That was a miss by me, so whoever suggested that, I think, is on it. Because that way there, if it's going out of town and it's going to another cranberry farm, at least we know where it is in fact going. And it just gives everybody, like I said, a little bit more education and a little bit more help along the way. I'll entertain a motion on this. I don't know that we need, do we need a motion to accept this, Amy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take a motion to
I'd like to
accept.
just add some comment.
Yeah, please.
As a lifelong cranberry grower, I hate paperwork, but I think this is imperative, first and foremost, to keep in line with our town bylaw, even though it goes above and beyond what the state exemptions are for us as cranberry growers,
But it says.
agricultural-based activities in town. But it's timely, as we bring on an agent. My concern is as commercial earth removal projects go up and down and revenue goes up and down, hopefully this process reduces the time needed to go and chase, citizens' concerns, so that our agent can use this. Hopefully it's a useful tool. I would look to him as he gets started to see how we could possibly improve this throughout its introduction. But all in all, it's the right thing. And as president of the Growers Association, I'm going to do my best to get the word out to the growing community and get everybody on board with this and understand its importance. So that's all.
Thank you, John. Any other discussion before we move into a motion? Mr. Wood?
We don't have any kind of penalty if someone doesn't fill this out?
What are you gonna do?
I don't believe that we have that kind of teeth.
Yeah, right.
It
No,
only.
I
well,
wasn't saying
the-
we should.
The teeth that we have is, in fact, if there is a citizen question, that now they have to come in front of us. And that takes time
And that's-
from all of
yes,
us and
yeah.
them, and then they have to be on the hot seat explaining, A, why they didn't fill it out, and B, what are you doing?
I think the form is a nice courtesy of them giving the olive branch out
Yeah,
to say, We're letting you know we're doing something.
I agree, and I thank you for that. I'll entertain a motion to accept the notification sheet
So moved.
and the cover letter with Bob's changes in the verbiage.
So
I'll
moved.
second your motion.
So Roger moved, Carol, and
Thank
Mr.
you.
Wood second. Any further discussion?
Now that I look at it, I think I'd like to see added in the cover letter, some verbiage explaining that changes could be submitted at any time. I see it on the notification letter
Yep.
itself, on the form, but maybe just a little bit of a reiteration of that in the cover letter would be appropriate, because as a cranberry grower, a lot of times, you don't make your decisions for the entire season on June 30th. And things change, weather changes, and it all impacts the activity and the reinvestment that we make on our farms. So just clarity that, you're not held to the annual report, and that changes can be submitted at any time through the proper channels here noted on the notification form. So sorry to add that in last minute, but
Not at all.
thank you.
And just put an amendment on our last motion, right?
Yeah, so.
Yep.
You can amend that.
Perfect. We have a friendly amendment and
Friendly
you
amendment.
had a
I'll
second?
second, yes.
Second the amendment? Okay.
Do you have to vote or no?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you very much. We are unanimous for the notification sheet, Carol, with some of the wording and changes to the cover letter. Okay, that'll move us on to fees. Mr. Harrison had brought up a very valid point last meeting, and I wanted to give it its due. I think it's important to recognize that a dime has been paid by cranberry growers for a very long time. Inflation has been not static. A dime isn't what a dime used to be. I have had a couple of different conversations with large permit holders. One of them actually called me and told me that a quarter at 25 cents, there would be no noise. So I bring this to you guys for discussion purposes. I don't think it's fair to go back on all the permit holders that have been issued permits over the last 2, 3, 4 years. But I think going forward, we can certainly ask those previous permit holders if they'd come to a quarter. And anything going forward, we'd go to a quarter on, or whatever number you guys pick, on any new permit for fees. We do have Carol on staff. We have a new agent on staff that we're gonna pay for. And like I just said, every single thing we've all touched today is more expensive today than it was yesterday. And there is a lot of knowledge around that. Mike, I thank you for bringing that up, because it's appropriate.
Would this be on all permits going forward, or the two we just approved as well, the Pontiff and Makepeace?
Well, the two people I spoke with are the brand-new permits, and they both said that they'd pay the quarter as well.
Okay, thank you. I think I'm in agreement. then.
Do we think a quarter is too much? We think a quarter is too little?
Darren said seven,
Did-
20, 21.
Do we think a quarter is too much? Is it too little?
Comparing to other towns here, Halifax, Wareham, I don't see any town that's above and beyond a quarter per yard.
Mr. Bentley, and I apologize, and thank you for reading that document that we did get from Mr. Bentley, which I did include in the packet. He's done some homework, and I greatly appreciate that. The fact, John, I agree with you, there is another scenario. I don't know that I like it, but there is another scenario, and it's to have an inspection fee based on total yardage, a quarterly inspection fee.
A flat fee?
Yeah, and that's what Mr. Bentley has done the homework on other towns. I'm not saying that that's something I'm in favor of. I'm not saying it's not something I'm in favor of.
It would simplify our record keeping, and we're not very good at doing it now.
Well, I think there's only one way to get better is to.
Yeah, to start.
To do it better, right?
Yeah,
I don't think we have to change the process to do it better. I just think we've got to do a better job.
yeah.
So again, it's certainly for discussion, and Bob, I do thank you for doing that because it's a lot of work to put something like this Excel spreadsheet together.
Well, I went out and looked specifically at surrounding towns and was looking for something that was everyone was doing across the board, and unfortunately, it is a total hodgepodge. Every town is different, and I noticed in 2015, Wareham tried to increase their fee from 25 cents to 50 cents, and within apparently a couple of meetings, they turned it back to 25 cents. But I also note that, for instance, Plimpton can assess reasonable fees. Whatever that is, I don't have any clue. I did find the Plymouth bylaw, which is embedded in the zoning articles. And there's nothing stated in terms of how much money they collect or if they can even collect fees. But I did note that Wareham and Halifax are charging 25 cents per cubic yard. Lakeville is at 15 cents. And I just, thought it was worth putting it all on a piece of paper so that we can see that, that there's really no total agreement in terms of earth removal fees.
So, just so I understand better, it's basically a quarterly or a monthly fee to have the permit?
So if it was an inspection fee based on how many yards under Middleborough, as Bob's got written here, at 250,000, it's $400 a quarter, initial and the quarter. If it's 250 to 500,000 yards, it's $600 a quarter, and then so on and so forth, up.
And they tally the difference in between?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of discussion through the attorneys general that have said that us charging a tipping fee is double taxation.
This is a huge thing. But
I'm going to stop asking these questions.
So what really happens is, in this case, all of our applicants that I've spoken with have no problem going to a quarter because they understand things are more expensive today. Operations and maintenance has done an amazing job for this town of Carver on keeping our roads up. That's what these fees pay for. The new inspector or agent fees will come out of this. So there is reasonability to bring this up to par with today. A dime is not enough, and that's been recognized.
Another big change, Mr. Chair, is the addition of the agent that we're going to have to pay for. Historically, almost all of these funds have gone back into the infrastructure of the town of Carver, and unfortunately, that's not the case anymore.
Right.
We've had to involve counsel that we've had to pay. We've had to fight lawsuits, and I think it's entirely appropriate to try to offset some of these additional costs that are going to be incurred by the agent, and hopefully still have good money to be able to put back into the infrastructure of our town.
That's right.
I know through the last process of the rewrite of the bylaws, the Attorney General did warn us on what you mentioned, it being double taxation. So here we have, the major players in the industry willing to participate and give up more. So we'd be foolish not to take advantage of this when we can and get it coming into us so we can better offset these new changes.
It's been a very long time since anybody on this board, and Mr. Ward and Mr. Harrison can.
You want the
tell
history?
Tell me if I'm wrong or not, but it's been a long time that it's been a dime.
Well, yeah, at least 15 years at a dime. But the problem was when we first negotiated with different growers, the larger growers that needed to remove sand and building bog, their concern was the double taxation. And if we went above a certain point, the larger growers were going to take us to court because it was going to mean a sizable amount of money. But 25 cents now, I think if you tried to go to 50 like Middleborough did, was it Middleborough?
Wareham.
Oh,
Wareham, that might create a suit of some kind that way. So I think 25 cents is a sizable increase to help us with our expenses and so on. And then may at some day down the road, we may have to look at it again.
I would agree with you. It's been a very, very long time, as you've indicated, that there's been an increase. And I think now's the time. I mean, I had never thought about it. I've never heard it brought up before. When Mike brought it up last month, I thought it was the appropriate time to be talking about it. So I thank you again. Any further discussion on this? I know it seems like we're going pretty quick through raising somebody's rate by 150%, but
So is this for Cranberry Bog owners?
Yep.
And then is there a different fee? For
right
commercial?
now, what's been happening is cranberry growers that have been removing soil for the production of cranberry or for water have been getting charged a dime, in my estimation. And if it was a commercial permit, which has a subdivision going on or something like that, it's always been a quarter. So there has been somewhat of a two-tiered event that's happened. What's happening now, under the current bylaw, the way it's written, is that any approved subdivision plan, that zoning and planning and all these, it is exempt anyway. So if it's gonna be something like what has been happening with the SLT site, it's an approved plan. We won't see any money from that anyhow.
You've been collecting 25 cents a cubic yard, and it was not in compliance with the subdivision plan.
So right now, we'll talk about the quarter. I don't see us having a commercial grade, but certainly open for discussion.
After all that, 25 cents seems like the right number to me.
Maybe we should look towards the commercial now, although we don't have any,
Yep.
to increase the commercial fee
Okay.
slightly in order to, if that ever comes about, we don't have to.
Should I have to come back and revisit?
Correct.
I tend to agree with you on that, Mike. Yes.
Just get rid of it.
Cover it
Because
all at once.
we're doing it now,
Yep.
go forward and have something in place in the time during the time when we might need it.
So right now, I think I'm hearing consensus around 25 cents for agricultural stuff.
That's
Correct.
Okay. Give me a number.
50 cents for the commercial,
It's at 25 now.
Is that a quarter right now?
so 25 cents,
It's double.
at 50 cents.
So we only went up 15 cents on,
Correct.
so why don't we take it 25 plus 15,
40 cents?
40 cents? I don't know. It's-
I like
it's
that
up to-
idea.
It's up to,
I like-
it's up to you people.
I like parity.
Commercial though, aren't they? You're all making bigger money off
I like parity. So at the end of the day, if we go up 15 cents for agriculture, can you hold it down in the back, please? Thank you. I like the parity, that if we go up 15 for the growers, we go up 15 for the commercial. Just to protect, not to protect ourselves, but just to
There's
kind of clean it
continuity,
up.
there's continuity in there.
Yep,
Yes.
I see
Yes.
heads moving up and down for 40 cents.
Yep.
All right, so
makes more money though.
we should make a motion now for the two divisions, the 40 cents for the commercial,
Yep.
if and when that situation comes up, and 25 cents for agriculturally related projects.
Sounded like a motion to me.
I just made it.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Who seconds? I'm sorry.
Mr. Bentley. So 25 for ag, 40 cents for commercial. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Good discussion, guys. It was asked of me, this last bullet on our agenda was asked of me the other day. During peak seasons, cranberry growers are in a little bit of a pickle when they're buying material from from sand suppliers to renovate bog. These suppliers, as we've talked about before, have a load count that is filled to capacity already. So it was asked, and I don't have an opinion on it yet, but at the end of the day, it was asked if we could increase the load counts for agricultural activities only during peak season.
Who asked?
So, the fact of the matter is, I don't know that it's a good thing. I don't know that it's a bad thing. I just wanted to bring it to you all for discussion.
What is peak season?
So, because we don't get any ice anymore,
Well, you never know.
you know, that's very true. So our peak season in Cranberry Bog renovation is springtime. So I would suggest it would be March, April, May. Would be, John, do you have any, Roger, Mr. Ward, any? I'm thinking March, April, May, maybe it's February, March, April. I don't know. I would consider it our peak renovation season.
So your point is if somebody like ADM has got 50 trucks a day
Yep.
hauling out, that at peak season, if they were to prove that it's for ag or
Yep.
whatever, that it's not commercial
Yep.
for reed or whatever, that we would allow them another 20 trucks a day or
Or
10
whatever,
trucks a
pick a
day
number.
or, okay, I just.
5, 10, you know, pick, like I said, pick a number. It does not matter to me. It was brought to me and I thought I'd bring it to you guys as
Like
Judy?
What's an average now would be
Average low count?
count? Yeah.
50.
Okay.
Yep.
Even for
Just 50.
across the board, I wasn't sure if like their peak season, it was higher or lower.
So it's 50.
50, no matter what.
Not no matter what. There are some times that it's less.
Okay.
Some applicants ask for less.
Well, I know some growers are bigger than others too, so.
Well, I'm not talking about the grower itself. I'm talking about the permit holder.
Yeah, one permit
Okay.
holder recently asked for 70 loads
Right, I
That's right.
remember, Yeah.
a day.
So is this the document?
We decided to stay at 50.
Okay.
So right now, our highest load count is 50 loads
50.
per day, which is a truck going in and a truck coming out is one trip.
Trip,
So,
all right. I just wasn't sure on that, like the peak season.
yep, so
It's new to me.
I just bring it up for a point of discussion. I don't think there's something we should act upon tonight, but I think it's something that you sleep on. And I don't know that it's a good idea, and I don't know that it's a bad idea. And part of the bad idea portion of it is, how do we account for it? Right, so.
This document may be the way to do it, at least to have an estimate of what they're going to need, and maybe they can come before us and say, this fall I'm going to need, or this spring I'm going to need 10 more trucks to run these projects I filled out here, or is that
Well, it's
get
not
too
an
crazy?
exempted activity, right? So I don't know that that notification sheet is the appropriate vehicle for that.
Oh, I was thinking because they're bringing the sand for their ice barging and sanding and renovation.
Well, that would be like if Makepeace had a permit, or didn't have a permit, and was gonna bring it from bog to bog.
Okay,
Right.
I think,
This would be under the commercial side, ag, commercial, because it would be for sale. If you had a pit and you were selling soil to me, that is for sale, unless you're a nice guy.
I am, Scott.
May I'm thinking, I'm renovating a small piece, my son is, and on my property. And I'm thinking, what are the sources that I can purchase sand? How many of them are there now? That has become a smaller number. And so if I need 50 loads of sand to do that project, and the people I'm buying it from are already at their 50 load limit, how do I get sand for my project in order to plant it by June? I need sand onto that. We're leveling it now on the base area, and we're going to bring in sand and level that. But if we can't buy sand from somebody because they're at their limit, what happens to us then?
And that was the reason for the ask. That was the reason for the ask.
Right. And I know that's not gonna be what my friends in my town like, but that's gonna be a situation where, what do I do?
Right.
How do we protect our neighbors with additional trucks or whatever? And how do we handle that? But the fact is, I'm stuck. Or I could be stuck.
So the fact of the matter is that I wanted to bring this to you guys' attention. I would suggest that we continue this to the next time. Think about it.
Okay.
This is not something that I think we should take lightly, because if we go, even if it's 5 loads a day, that turns into something. Then the reporting turns into something very different, in my opinion. The reporting gets very difficult and it gets a little bit wonky, right? So, we've done permits at 50 loads for good reason. The problem is, like we've all talked about, is the fact that those 50 loads happen 52 weeks a year, give or take, depending on the weather. So the growers, to your point, Mr. Ward, the growers kind of get left out in the cold a little bit. There are some sources, but they're few and far between, and it's extraordinarily expensive to renovate a bog anyway. So, but again, it's just one of those things that I wanted to bring to you guys for discussion. Okay.
If I could piggyback off of Dick's comments and add a little insight to the situation. I manage cranberries full-time for a large cranberry grower. And
That's
I
down,
also
please.
purchased,
Keep it down, please.
I
Thank you.
also, I'm a cranberry grower. I'm not a dirt guy. I bought my family's 20-acre parcel that's been in the family. My dad bought it back in the late 70s. He grew cranberries part-time on 9 acres of bog. 7 years ago, I decided to purchase it with borrowed money. I'm raising my family today on the same property I grew up on. I quickly realized the only way I was going to sustain that property and that open space was to get more production out of my cranberry bogs. I've invested at the tune of $200,000 to renovate 4 acres of bog. The state has been supportive of my efforts through grants through the Massachusetts Department of Agricultural Resources, who some of you may have just seen on the news that they allotted us another round of renovation grants. They realized open space in this area means a healthy cranberry industry. The alternatives are not great. I have a 3-acre bog. I've been so successful on the first 2 that I renovated, I wanted to renovate the next one. And here I have the grant and the tax credit offered to me by the state of Massachusetts to sustain my cranberry farm and and I can't get sand. Yes, I'm an employee of 80 Makepeace, and I can only get 3 truckloads of sand a day because they need to supply their everyday customers.
There's no comments from you guys, please.
Why can't we speak?
Just let him talk. This is not a public hearing.
We know Reed Custom Soils is saying
Just,
100
that's enough.
an hour.
Please.
out there.
Please don't make me ask you to leave the room. Please.
I really would like to hear.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At 3 to 4 truckloads a day, I need 150 to renovate the 3 acres of bog that I want to do. I can't afford to have a guy on a bulldozer after work every day push 3 piles out for me. I need to get that material to the bog in a timely manner to get it planted, hopefully in the end of April, beginning of May, where you have your most productive planting. It's frustrating to me that here I am, I want to reinvest in my property, and I'm tied. I can't get sand. I don't have sand on my property at this point that I'm willing to sacrifice for renovations because I need it for the enhancement of the regular bog sanding activity. So I at this point have no opinion on the truck count, but I'd like to just share that my frustrations as a young 37-year-old guy trying to sustain his family farm, raise kids on it. My kids are part of this community. I serve on this board as a person of the community before I do a cranberry grower. And I saw that there was a need on this committee at the time because there seemed to be a great misunderstanding of our industry and what we're trying to do here. But as a resident of the town of Carver, we all love the open space that it comes with, and that only sustains through a healthy cranberry industry. So I've been out protecting my bogs for the last 96 hours from frost events. I'm tired and I'm frustrated, and thank you for listening, but that's my personal situation, and it ties directly to my inability to be able to get trucks during a condensed time period. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, John, I appreciate it. Mr. Ward, you had something?
Well, no, originally, the 50 loads a day was our concerns for the neighbors and of projects. And if you divided that out, 8 hours a day into 48 or 50, that's 6 or 7 loads per day of trucks going in and out. So if we had to add some in short periods of time, it would seem to me that it would be something that our neighbors would be saying, all right, if this is a short period of time and you're not going to be creating, we need, to stay in business, I need roughly 40 loads of sand on my piece that I'm renovating. And yes, that one piece of bog is going to be over $50,000 to renovate, counting the sand and the cost of the vines and all the things. The next thing you're going to say is, what's an 83-year-old guy doing that for? Well, I have my son, my grandson, and my great-grandson, and they're all proud of the cranberry industry, and it's part of our life. So I love my neighbors. I talk to my neighbors all the time, and my neighbors have been very courteous with me, and they've been accepting of me doing some of the things that I need to do to grow the cranberries. And on the other hand, I want them to walk the bogs and walk their animals and be able to enjoy the open space, because we have 50 acres right in the center of town.
Yeah.
So
Nobody likes the short-term disruption of our properties, the dust, the sand piles, the equipment, but it's short-term. And the result is a long-term generational reset of our properties that allow us to keep it open space for future generations. And without that ability, the options are not great, especially for the community.
Yes.
Anybody else? Okay. Meg, I'm going to speak to one thing before I call to adjourn, and it's your emails that you've sent this past Monday. I've talked to town council about it. We're reviewing them, and we'll talk about them at the end on the 28th of May. So I am letting you know that we did get them. We have talked about it. We're going to take some time and review them, and we'll get back to you on the 28th at the next meeting. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Roger?
Second.
Dick, second? We are at 5:10.
And it was Roger and
Mr. Ward? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Doubt it. Any abstentions? Thank you all. Thank you very much. We'll see the board on the 18th.